You need high IQ to solve a Rubik's Cube. Wrong. You don't have to be that smart to solve one of these. In this video, I will be testing 10 of the most popular Rubik's Cube myths. Moving straight on to the next one. The Rubik's Cube is unsolvable. Obviously not true, but if someone tampers with the cube, for example a corner twist, this is unsolvable using conventional means. However, if you scramble the cube normally, it will always be solvable, no matter what. Moving on. If you're a cuber, then this probably annoys you as well, but it doesn't matter how much you scramble a cube, it will not get any harder to solve. It is so common for a non-cuber to take your cube and start scrambling it. After a while, you ask them to give it back to you and they say, it's not hard enough yet. Like I said, after about 20 moves or so, the cube will be equally difficult than if you had done 400 moves. Just to prove it, I've done 20 moves to scramble this cube and over 100 on this cube. So let's see how fast I can solve each. Next is another misunderstanding seemingly from all non-cubers, in that there is one algorithm to solve the cube. To my knowledge, this is untrue, and even if there was, there would be no way to do it enough in such a short amount of time to beat the world record. So this is just dumb. As a general rule, the more algorithms you know, the faster you'll be able to solve the cube, because it means you will be able to know as many cases as possible. So in this case, more is less. Linking on to number 5 is that these two moves solve the cube. I can't believe that I have to explain this one, but doing these two moves has no effect on these pieces, so it is impossible for it to solve the cube. No matter how long you try it for, it will not work. Next, some people think that these are knockoff versions of the Rubik's Cube. Whilst you could be somewhat correct, these are all speed cubes, which means they turn so much faster and just better. Yes, the Rubik's Cube was made first, but these have adapted on that idea and executed it so much better. Speaking of speed cubes, if you want to buy any of these and plenty more for great prices, then check out speedcubing.org, who kindly sponsor my channel. Click the link in the description to buy a brand new speed cube at a highly competitive price. Number 7 is one for the speed cubers, and that is that the cost of a cube changes how it performs. And whilst this is technically correct, it doesn't have as much of an impact as you would think, and it definitely doesn't mean you should be spending £70 on the GAN 13, which is slightly hypocritical coming from me. However, there are plenty of cheaper cubes that you can perform equally well on. Quickly, I see it so much where a non-cuber scrambles the cube and then starts the timer as soon as they give it to the cuber. The official rule is that they get up to 15 seconds to inspect the cube before they start solving. That time is used to do a little bit of planning. However, as we burst into myth 9, this 15 seconds isn't used to plan the entire solve, which quite a lot of people believe. Most cubers are able to plan out the cross completely. Some people can plan out the first F2L pair, and then only a few can plan 2 or more F2L pairs. But at this point, we believe it is currently impossible for a human to be able to plan out an entire solve within 15 seconds. In the future, it might happen, which would be crazy to think about considering the world record is already so low. But if someone was able to memorize the entire solve in this time, I wouldn't even know how fast they could solve the cube. And finally, myth 10, humans are faster than robots. Subscribe.